Hi guys, welcome to the implementation part of this course. That is the part where we'll build the chatbot from scratch and of course following a step-by-step approach. This is Adlan here, the second instructor of this course, and I'm super excited to be back in the game. We will build a super powerful chatbot by implementing a state-of-the-art deep NLP model, which will be the sec-to-sec, and we will implement that with one of the best APIs to build deep learning applications or artificial intelligence, which will be TensorFlow. I hesitated to implement the chatbot in TensorFlow or PyTorch. I actually experimented with both, but I actually got better results with TensorFlow. And besides, I know a lot of you asked for some TensorFlow implementation, so I'm very happy to give that to you in this course. We will get into the details and the high-level techniques of TensorFlow to build our chatbot. So, this implementation will be done in 5 parts, which are the common 5 parts when implementing a deep learning application or an AI. So here we go. First part, part 0, installing Anaconda and getting the dataset. Anaconda is the IDE we will use to build our chatbot. We will actually use more precisely Spider inside Anaconda because it's like a studio, and I want you to feel comfortable with all these great tools that Spider has when implementing our chatbot. And then we will get the dataset, which is the Cornell movie corpus dataset. Basically, it's a dataset of more than 600 movies containing thousands of conversations between lots of characters. And I wanted to train our chatbot on this dataset because I wanted to build a general chatbot that can have general conversations with us like a friend, instead of, a specified chatbot that is used for some specific purpose. That being said, the model we will use can be trained on other datasets for some other purposes. For example, you will be able to train the same chatbot on a more specific dataset like a calendar assistant or a navigation assistant. These are some more specific applications, but this is not what we'll do in this course. We will train a general chatbot to talk about everyday conversations. And that's why movies are perfect, because in movies you have a lot of random conversations, general conversations between friends, and so this will actually be pretty fun. Then part 1. So that was part 0, and part 1 will be data preprocessing. Data preprocessing is inevitable whenever you build an AI or whenever you build a machine learning model. You have to make the dataset compatible with the model you're going to build. We're going to build a neural network based model, and therefore the data will have to have a special format, especially for the inputs. Besides, we'll have to clean the text, because the less we clean it and simplify it, the more difficult it will be for our model to train itself to talk like a human. So we will have to do a lot of data preprocessing. This will not be the funniest part, but I will try to do it the most efficiently so that we can get to the exciting parts, which are actually part 2, part 3, and part 4, when we get into the heart of the model. And speaking of these parts, part 2 will be building the sec-to-sec model, the sequence-to-sequence model, which is a state-of-the-art deep NLP model. So we will build it. We will actually build a brain composed of an encoder and then a decoder, and we will assemble all of them to build the final brain, which, be careful, will not be trained yet. And speaking of training, that leads us to part 3. Part 3 will be about training this sec-to-sec model, that is training this brain that we would have just made in part 2. So we will train it, we will set up a loss function, get the optimizer, and then apply some stochastic gradient descent to update the weights of the neurons of the brain so that it improves its ability to talk with us. And finally, part 4, the last part of this implementation, we will test our chatbot. That is, we will test the sec-to-sec model. That is, we will make some kind of a code to, once we execute it, have an interface where we can ask some questions and then the chatbot will answer. And we will just test the chatbot by observing its answers and see how it's capable of conversing with us. So this will be pretty exciting. And here we go. That's the plan of attack of this implementation. And without waiting, we're going to start with part 0. Directly in the next tutorial, we will install efficiently Anaconda. And then in the next tutorial after that, we will get the dataset. And then we'll be good to go. We will start part 1, data preprocessing, and the next parts after that. So I'm super excited to start. Let's install quickly Anaconda in the next tutorial, and I'll see you there. Until then, enjoy deep NLP.